Hi, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the patch notes for the new update that is going to be dropping most likely on Monday or later in the week, which is the Nightmare Dungeon. We're all surprised that they actually released patch notes for the update this early. I don't know why so early. That's why it's making me lean even more that it's going to be on Monday. So I'll give you guys my inputs on thoughts regarding the patch notes, and let's just see what they buffed and nerfed and all the changes that are coming within the update. So if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Join Discord if you guys haven't. Appreciate everyone that's been in the Discord and been helping me with videos, whether it be on stream or just in VC. Appreciate all the people that do come out and help. So let's go over the patch notes. Of course, I have it open on another tab, but it says coming soon, the Nightmare Dungeon. Now, there's a reason why I'm in the dreaming. It's because the dungeon either going to be here or it's going to be right there. I mean, I'm leaning towards this side just because of the background, but it could be either one of these. So there is that. And basically it shows a little bit of a teaser. I mean, we kind of already knew because the previous video I did upload, we did have the teaser image that I talked about. So we're getting a little bit more regarding how it looks. Basically, they explain that it's a new type of dungeon where up to 4 players work together. Explore a maze patrolled by broken dreams. Use stealth and teamwork to avoid these invincible monsters, cleanse the negative energy, and defeat the malice that created it once and for all. Help Baldaroo awaken from its long nightmare and earn the powerful new Dream Reaver gear. We've already seen the Dream Reaver gear due to the fact is it existed in test realm. So if you guys are wondering what the gear looks like, check back one of the previous videos on the channel. I've definitely showed it off when test realm did come out with the not the nightmare, but like the whole Waldaroo stuff came out. So it should be the same stats unless they did tweak it, but we won't know till the release. So there's that. Right here, Nightmare Dungeon will originally be releasing in challenge mode with a standard mode soon after, which I did talk about in the previous video as well, which a lot of people are kind of upset about this, but we kind of have to wait to see. For regular PvE casual players, sadly you're gonna have to wait, but you're more than welcome to try the challenge mode if you want to see if you can beat it and try to get the gear. So there's that. Now there's already known issues without the update even being out. There is some issues already, meaning there is no dungeon warning, and there's a timer that still progresses while VO plays. And pet item cards are undisabling themselves when a player logs back in. This, from what I'm understanding, is the Kroger jewels. I believe I have a Kroger jewel on me. Yeah, this. So like, for example, if you cross this out in your deck, for example, let's say I don't want this Queen Calypso and I cross it out, I basically will still be crossed out on my screen, but once I log out and log back in, it's going to be uncrossed out. Don't know why, but that's been an issue for a while. Patch notes to go live with the dungeon. We got some spell and quest fixes. So they fixed Judge Veg. This is kind of whatever. Fixed John Locke in the Can, which is supposed to be in Wobblegum territory. I don't remember this. Now, Freddy's Dreamscape dialogue. Oh my god, dude, this was so annoying. Thankfully, this is fixed because of the fact of every time a person went in the fight, it would replay the dialogue over and over and over. So it was really annoying, but thankfully that is fixed. Fixed Walder text to dialogue in some areas. Okay. Freddy Croaker encounter dialogue isn't repeating. I'm assuming so it doesn't repeat over and over. That's my assumption. There's also blade and trap gambits with damage as a result had their conditional damage reduced. Now I will be talking about this in a separate video, but yes, blade and trap gambits, such as if we quickly go over to my deck, if we go to the storm spells and we quickly look at, for example, Rain of Thorns, which is a PvP/advanced combat spell. Scion of Storm is for players who just do casual PvE. They're not going to touch this, but Rain of Thorns, they are going to adjust, so it's no longer going to be a ×2 gambit, and it'll be doing less damage, probably like 1.5 1.4 instead of the 2 times. So I'll talk about it in a separate video, but that's the basic TLDR when it comes to that. Now that includes trap gambits as well, so keep that in mind. The cost for Regenerate tier 3 has been reduced. This needed to be fixed due to the fact that Regenerate costed more at tier 3 than any other spell, so definitely it's glad that they did adjust this. Nova spells now have a top path and a tier 4. This was kind of unexpected, honestly, from my end too. I didn't really expect them to do something like this, but there's going to be a top path and a bottom path for Tree of Strife, along with all the other spells from Novus. So it's kind of interesting to see. There's probably going to be a no PvP path and a PvP path. That's my assumption. And there's also going to be a tier 4. So if are you, try to stock up on your spell elements if you haven't, so you guys can upgrade the spells on release, right? I'm already prepared and I have 600. So I'll be ready to tier it up. And yeah, so that's just basically the TLDR for all the schools. Now, Minotaur bottom path, damage and trap reduced. This was like kind of out of the blue. No one really knew this was going to happen. And they basically reduced the damage and the trap. So the trap, basically, I think it's a universal trap. Actually, no, I think it's a chromatic trap based upon your school. So if I use Minotaur bottom path on a fire, those chromatic traps become fire, of course, because, you know, it's based upon my school. So the trap has been reduced. It's probably a lower percentage, and the damage is definitely reduced as well. Another thing that was changed was Hero of Chrysalis. Damage has been reduced. I don't think I have spell elements on me, but we can quickly go over to my myth. And yes, they reduced the damage of Hero of Chrysalis. Now, I don't know how badly of a change this is going to be, because the fact is, I think currently right now, if we look at Hero of Chrysalis, I believe, yes, it's 930 at tier 5. So if you do have it at tier 5, it does 930, which is quite a lot. So I don't know how drastic this is going to be, and we'll just have to wait to see. But this is getting a huge nerf, so keep that in mind. Now, if we go back to the spells, they increased damage slash blade values for Reap the Whirlwind, Storm Shark, bottom, or the Pip bottom path, and Triton bottom path. I don't know what's with this wording. They spelled path wrong. And Iron Sultan. Now, really surprised about the Iron Sultan. Same thing. One of these things that just caught me off guard. Something similar to Minnow. But I don't know why they're adjusting Iron Sultan. I mean, I'll take it. Iron Sultan's one of my favorite spells, and I'm glad that they're changing it. I don't know if they're just affecting the PvP path or they're going to be changing both, because there is a PvP path technically for this and people do use it. So there's that. But they're also changing Triton, Storm Shark, and Reap the Whirlwind. So if we go check Triton and Storm Shark, it does damage increased based upon how many hots you have on you, up to 2. So that will probably get increased. And then Triton, it clears 2 hots for 255 blades. And I believe these are either universal or chromatic, I don't remember, but that's a thing. So those are getting increased values. Hopefully it's not equivalent to a feint, but they did nerf cosplaying, so who knows, this is probably like a buff for Storm as a whole. And then they also changed Reap the Whirlwind. So if we quickly go over to our spells and we look at Reap the Whirlwind, wherever it is, right here, where it clears 1 hot and it gives you 2 storm blades. So we don't know how big of a buff it's going to be. It's most likely just going to be changing the percentages on the blades. So that's good to see as well. Now, of course, we did talk about this a little bit, but the shield gambits have been buffed to meet a new valuation. This includes Frost Beetle bottom path, Colossus bottom path, Duomoni, Myth Djinn, and Ice Scion. So those are all getting buffed, which, like I said, along with the Storm Scion nerf, I will be talking about in a separate video. But yes, they have been nerfed, those have been nerfed, and while the Shield's Gambit spells have been buffed entirely. Now, to me, this is kind of just out of the blue. Similar situation with all these other spells. It's really random to buff the Shield Gambit spells, and my take on it will be, like I said, in the separate video, because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Shield Gambits. Now let's actually talk about the combats and bosses, along with everything else. Pendragon will now correctly give Primo material. Basically, Pendragon wasn't giving the drops. I don't know why, but it was working fine in test room from what I remember. But now it's actually bugged, and now it's fixed again with the update. So to the people who are trying to finish the museum, there you go. It's your time to shine. Damage stat maxes for dual schooling have been modified such that lower DPP schools will not exceed their own school's damage output. Meaning, essentially, a lot of people were doing cosplaying, me myself included, and along with other people that do raids have been cosplaying in the raids. Now, they basically nerfed that, so you can't really cosplay in the raid as much. They did want people to dual school, but not cosplay, which It's a separate topic that we probably should talk about in another video, but they did lower the stat maxes for other schools. Now, they fixed the late cheat and quartermain setup for evading fleets. I don't know if this affects challenge mode at all. I know that there is a bug with challenge mode invading fleets where like you can, for some reason, if you're quad boxing or on multiple accounts and trying to do it, it basically glitches out and you're stuck in the fight for at least like another 10 minutes or so. I don't know why that's a thing, but hopefully that does get fixed in this patch. They fixed incorrect pierce and accuracy values for various Wallaroo mobs. I don't know if this is a buff or a nerf. If it's a buff to the mobs, I mean the mobs might get harder, or they might just become easier. Who knows? This is a big change, which I haven't seen anyone talk about in the discords, is that they added arc mastery stats to the decathlon mobs. Now decathlon was easier due to the fact that mobs didn't have arc mastery, so you didn't have to worry about them using spells that are in their deck, such as like Ninja Pigs or like Queen Calypso or other spells, because the fact is that they didn't have arc mastery. So now that they have arc mastery, it's going to be just kind of basically the same as what it originally used to be. So instead of it being as super easy as it was these past couple events, they should be back to normal, to the original state. I mean, of course, we do have access to the health jewels, but time will tell how good those health jewels are over flat reds. So there's that. They modified the 170 henchmen. We don't know if it's good or bad, or if they fixed any bugs with them, but they do have access to cheats. I think like every so often, every henchman that's 170 has like a cheat, which they'll either give you a buff or they'll do something else on the enemy. So there's that. Fixed an issue with Montgomery standard mode while people were able to skip the 2 initial fights. I think I made a video about this where I said go farm Montgomery and you can literally just skip all the fights, and he was able to get one-shotted, which wasn't intended by the devs. And now I'm pretty sure that's getting fixed in here later down the line. Fixed an issue with Luigi Di Mario where he was reacting to his own spell cast. Yeah, if you were soloing this fight, I've heard a lot of complaints regarding this, and I'm glad that that's getting fixed for all those solo players, so it shouldn't be as hard or as difficult. They fixed Arcane Toad and Freddy where they were incorrectly reacted to detonates. I'm not too sure what this is referring to. I mean, we were able to kill Freddy. If we go over here, the fight over here with Freddy's domain, we're able to one round him because of the Scald Incendiate stuff, because Incendiate's doing 400%. So I don't know if it's relating to that, but Incendiate as a whole is just busted right now, which I don't mind. It doesn't affect challenge mode and it doesn't affect raids, so hopefully they leave my Incendiate alone. Montgomery and Invading Fleets can now properly drop Wallaroo spell elements. I believe they were dropping Novus spell elements instead. I'm not too sure why. I believe it's because of Montgomery and Invading Fleets. The Doom Moon location is in Novus, so it kind of was bugging out and giving you Novus drops instead of Wallaroo drops. I believe people were even getting Paradox gear in challenge mode. I don't know if that's intentional, but yeah, you can apparently get Paradox gear from the Doom Moon challenge mode or the Invading Fleets. So that's one of those things. Montgomery's standard is now immune, so now people are just going to go back to dispel spam and just kind of wait it out. So if are you, my personal opinion is get your Montgomery standard mode stuff out the way so you don't have to do this fight. It's just as long. I mean, farming is going to be dreadful, so there's that. This is a plus for all those challenge mode people out there. Montgomery challenge mode, school, and deck have been modified. Don't know what they mean by school and deck has been modified. I'm not too sure about that, but they did change his deck. So hopefully it's a little bit easier. I've seen many complaints about how RNG that fight is compared to the other ones. Like Fleets is kind of just straightforward, have all your hanging effects. Crash is basically just killing them twice. And I believe Freddy is just killing them in specific orders. Montgomery was the one where it's like, you've got to survive as long as you can, let him kill himself essentially, and then he summons his shadow and you got to kill the shadow. The shadow also had many negative charms that they would spam on you, so hopefully this makes it a little bit easier, and I'll definitely check it out after we check out all the Nightmare Dungeon stuff in Live Realm. They also added combat music to Dreamscape Despair Battle. I wouldn't know this because I don't play with music on, so there's that. Stat maxes for advanced content have been increased to account for the level 170, meaning we all knew this. Once the 170 gear comes out, we're all expecting new stat maxes due to the fact is we're getting the Dream Reaver Hat Row Boots Wand, and we're also getting the Hunhow stuff for Shibalba upgrades. So it was expected. I think most players already knew this, and they've talked about it on KI Lives and just in streams in general. So it's good to see that. They've also, the PvP resist limit function has been increased. We'll have to see how big of an increase is, because this will just bring back wards. I know Matt was talking about it earlier in VC, saying how this just basically means that wards are coming back to PvP. Now, I don't know if this limit function is also going to affect PvE in a sense where it comes to challenge mode. I don't know. But usually PvP and PvE have the same stat caps. So I think this indirectly buffs advanced combat. We'll have to see. Now, gears and recipes. They fixed the badge requirement on pins. I think the badge were flip-flopped for like the longest, and I think now it's actually working as intended. So there's that. They removed the no trade from the Shibalba shards. Thankfully, that is finally happening, because a lot of players have Shibalba shards on different characters, including myself, and it was really hard to just, you know, want to raid if you want to just play on a specific character. You kind of were forced to. You couldn't play other positions due to the fact is that, hey, all my shards are on this one character. I can't go play on my life because my shards are on this character. So I'm kind of glad that they fixed that and you're able to transfer your shards. So hopefully that does make its way and works perfectly fine. They've also made the Groundhog Pet giftable, because I know that Groundhog Pet is an exclusive pet, and for some reason you were not able to gift it to players. So now you can gift it and you can have another exclusive pet. The Azteca raid upgrades for level 170 are now active with the recipes, so you can craft the Hat Row Boots Wands if you want to upgrade them to level 170. Me personally, I think I've been stockpiling on shards, so I've been trying to raid as much as I can, and I don't think I have that many shards compared to everybody else, because people do like to spam the chest quite often. And if we quickly check over here, if we go to reagents, we go to Shibalba shards, I only have 145. I've been kind of stacking these up due to the fact is that I want to upgrade those wands. I'm assuming the wands are going to be good, but that is just an assumption. We'll have to see once the actual upgrades come out, alongside with the big changes with the raid, due to the fact is with spells getting nerfed and buffed, raid strats are going to be changed. Now let's actually go to the other things, which is the sandals and Cowl of the Sentinel are dyeable. If you don't know what this is, it's basically the old pagoda gauntlet. For some reason at lower tiers you were not able to dye it, but at the max tier you were. So now it's working as intended and people are able to dye their gear. Lastly, if we go to Miscellaneous, people can pick up their frosty tree if it's in their home. I guess you couldn't pick it up. Never heard about that. Housing items for Walrus have been added to many Walrus creatures, and a few recipes were added to the housing vendor in Hope Springs. So to the housing people, you got like a mini buff and you got more housing items that you can add to your guild house or just in general to your builds. They fixed ingested doodles on the map in multiple locations. I've never noticed it, but hopefully it does get fixed. And then the mini pumpkin and what was this, peanut butter cookie pet snacks are no longer blank. I've had this issue where like I have it in my inventory and I can't feed it to my pet because it has no stats. So thankfully this is fixed. And then they fixed various monstrology fixes. My only complaint throughout this whole patch notes is, like I always state, is that there's always going to be stuff left out in patch notes. They do this a lot. So if there's something that you missed in here and was made, or like it made its way to live realm, most likely it's because they just did not add it in here. One thing I'm really hoping that they do fix, and they did not even talk about it in here, is the bank issue. A lot of us have been complaining about the bank issue and people have been losing items because of it. And they did not even talk about it once in this patch notes. So I'm hoping it's like a silent fix that they just didn't want to talk about in the patch notes, or they just didn't write it down, or it's still getting worked on. But be careful while moving stuff through your bank, because you do not want to lose items to the void. I personally have lost 2,000 dream water because of it. So hopefully you guys are being careful when moving things over and take your time with moving them so they don't end up in the void and you lose those items. Sad to see that they did not talk about it or even mention it. So we'll just have to see about that, but everything else I'm kind of fine with. But we'll talk about certain things in separate videos because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this update. So be on the lookout for those videos. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. Join Discord if you guys haven't. Like I said, I appreciate everybody that's in the Discord when it comes to making content. You guys have been helping me out a crap ton, so thank you to all the people in the Discord. But that is it from me. Be on the lookout for more videos within the next couple days before the Nightmare comes out. I will be streaming the Nightmare Dungeon on Twitch, so if you guys want to see my initial reactions, definitely stop by the Twitch channel whenever the Nightmare Dungeon comes out. I will gladly stream it, and you guys can see me mauled and rage and whatever. So that is it, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.